Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Bitching with Sylvia. I'm Sylvia, in case you were wondering. Um, Today I'm a bitch about shock jocks. I'll say that shock jocks into the shock jocks. It's a mouthful. Say that 10 times fast. Shock jocks. I won't. I'm sorry. I digress. What is a shock jock? It is somebody who is obsessed or trigger happy with a shock collar. I'm feeling particularly upset about this because, like, I just shared, if you guys are following along on my Instagram, I shared on my stories this news clip about this woman whose dog went to a, like, board and train, and, like, they had a guarantee on the dog's behavior. I roll. And the lady got the dog back, and the dog literally has, like, sores and burns, like, sores all over his body, and then, like, this big burn on his throat from, like, you know, it's, like, 3 prongs from the shock collar. And, like, it's clearly, like, that's what it's from. I'm sorry for, like, all the shock jocks out there that are gonna, like, flood the comments now and be like, it's a stim collar, whatever. And what's nuts to me is, like, you know, are you eating the plants? Juniper's having some salad at the salad bar. What's crazy to me is, like, reading the comments. Mostly because it's kind of a mixed bag of, like, people who just, like, have no idea and are like, oh my God, this is terrible. I can't believe this is happening. And, like, can't they use the shock collar on a lower setting? Like, I don't understand why it needs to be so high. Like, I just genuinely don't understand. Can someone explain it to me? And I'm just like, literally, there's, like, an entire population of people who just, like, are so oblivious to the fact that, like, shock collars even exist. I'm sorry, stim collars even exist and are being used on dogs. And then the majority of the comments are, like, from shock jocks. Can you guys feel my eye roll through the camera? Who are basically like, oh, like, they should focus more on the trainer, not on the tool. Like, it's not the shock collar, it's just the person who is using the shock collar doesn't know the right way to use it. And, you know, they should be focusing more on, like, singling out this dog trainer who, like, clearly doesn't know what they're doing. And, you know, like, going into these long explanations about how, like, it's just a stim, like, you would use at the doctor to, like, stimulate, like, a muscle twitch, you know. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, so crazy, because I was just, like, working out the other day, and my trainer was like, oh, I got this massage, and, like, my masseuse uses, like, the stim thing, and she was like, I'm so sore, my back hurts so much from this machine. And I'm, like, thinking to myself, all these people who are just sitting there, like, justifying the use of this collar because it's not actually electrocuting your dog, it's just, like, stimulating all the muscles, and, like, how sore their necks must be. Like, this is their neck. Like, it's, like, not really a strong part of their body. All this to say, like, it's just so clear that our industry needs, like, so much more education and regulation just based on, like, people who don't know that this is happening. Like, for me, seeing this woman crying about her dog, and, like, I've sat down with this client. Like, I've sat with them. I've seen the burn marks on the dog and the dog upset. Like, this is not new to me. Like, this is my day-to-day. It's nice to see it getting news coverage. It's hard to read the comments of people just, like, defending the tool and really showing that, like, they're using a tool that they baseline scientifically don't know how it works. I had one guy that I went back and forth with on another force-free trainer's, like, comment section, and he was like, anything can be aversive. And, like, it's not aversive. You just train the dog to like it. And I'm like, I can consent, like, thinking to the example of my trainer, right? Like, I can consent to somebody putting a stim device on my back, knowing that, like, it's going to stimulate all my muscles and it's going to be painful and I'm going to be sore and all my muscles are going to be twitching. And I understand what's happening cognizantly and I've consented to it. you mean to tell me that you think that stimulation is not aversive to the dog naturally? Like, you think that, like, you've done such a good job pairing it with food that it's naturally not aversive. Like, I'm averse to it and I'm consenting to it, but it still hurts and it's uncomfortable. Like, when my Cairo, like, digs into my glute with his elbow, like, that shit hurts. I'm not like, I love this. Like, it's aversive, but I can understand, like, why it's happening. You can't communicate that to a dog. So I just don't understand. Like, the justification and the miseducation and the misinformation, especially when, like, these shock collar companies are advertising. By the way, they're advertising in the warning section, like, not good for aggressive dogs, may cause like aversive behavior and more aggression. Like, this is literally on their websites as like a warning, as a caution to not use that tool for these specific purposes. So anyways, can we just, like, regulate? By the way, if you're in the UK, I don't know if this reaches people in the UK, please, like, phone in to support the shock collar ban there. It's, like, under scrutiny because the loudest voices are the ones that are in support of hurting animals. And, like, the law itself, the ban itself, is actually called the sentience recognition ban. It's literally a law to recognize that dogs are sentient beings. It's not even about the shock collar. It's like recognizing that they're sentient and that we shouldn't use aversive pain to get them to do things. So be proactive, contact your local governments. If you're here and you're fired up and you're seeing that news story about a dog's neck being burned, like, do something about it. Like, contact your local authorities. Like, let's make change, because it's going to be up to us to, like, ultimately change what's happening in this industry. Not just me as a dog trainer, not just other fellow R-positive dog trainers, but, like, the whole community has to subscribe to this idea that, like, we shouldn't hurt animals just to get them to listen and obey. Like, follow, share, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your wife. Come back next week for another episode. I'm going to deep dive into more things. And thanks for following and being here if you are, and for subscribing. See you all soon.